Hey guys, Androgenic here, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the introductory video, and we're mainly going to talk about my main ideology, which is, of course, that being natural is bad, and if you want to live an optimal life, you have to go the unnatural route. So, first off, yeah, obviously we have increasing bone development, increasing muscularity. These are obviously known to require unnatural means in order to be optimized. That's pretty obvious. I don't have to get into that. And even hair loss, and I suppose skin quality. People are prescribed finasteride, people are prescribed Accutane. I suppose there are those who believe that they're not necessary, especially Accutane, but it's pretty difficult to say that finasteride won't decrease hair loss outcomes. So we already understand so far what's going on here. And then you delve into really where the main contention is, and that's probably longevity. People argue that the natural way of doing things is best for your health long term. But then obviously we have the ITP rat studies, which show that drugs like rapamycin hugely increase lifespan, and even 17-alpha estradiol, which is actually a metabolite of dianabol, seem to be uniquely lifespan increasing, especially in men, in male rats. So that's interesting. And yeah, we can get into every synthetic type of antioxidant or mitochondrial pro-function drug out there. And I suppose we could go into the anti-diabetic agents like GLP-1 agonists or SGLT2 inhibitors. But ultimately, the main thing that's clear is that being natural is not ideal in really any regard. Now, the other point I want to touch on in this first introductory video is the people in the looks maxing or bodybuilding spheres, they get trapped in basically hyper-focusing on the one trait that they are decent in, which doesn't really make sense, because I've always seen it from a perspective of the best thing you can be is to be well-rounded in every aspect. So, for example, people in the bodybuilding spheres, they will get a really good physique. They'll be like 240 pounds shredded, and they'll be looking in the mirror telling themselves they hate their physique and how small they are and how much they need to improve. And the ironic part is here. They're ugly, bloated, bald, covered in acne and awful skin quality. All of their health markers are out of whack. They're not healthy at all. They don't have a lot of money. Their relationships with others are minimal or dysfunctional. And you realize these people have nothing going for them except for their physique, and yet that's still the main thing that they're attempting to improve on. It gets to a point where it is simply irrational. So for me personally, obviously I heavily focused on increasing my development and increasing my muscularity and overall looks as a whole. But I've reached a point where putting so much time, energy, and resources into getting more muscular from here on out would be incredibly low return on investment. In fact, it would be probably counterproductive overall, not even including the time aspect to it, but just due to the fact that in order to get bigger, I would have to do things that would compromise my longevity and likely the quality of my youth indicators and overall the potential for me to age well into my looks as I age. So obviously, I've sort of delved more into this the sphere of longevity, focusing on hair, skin, overall health, and brain is a huge one, and overall energy and mitochondria, because yeah, these are essentially what every biohacker sort of begins to delve into, because at the end of the day, you only get so big and muscular, and I'm going to continue down that path, but in a very safe and non-expedited way, right? Like, I'm happy building muscle from here on out at a very slow rate and maintaining it throughout my life until obviously I get too old and then I have to downsize a little bit, etc. But yeah, for the most part, this is the natural route that you take. You will maximize development, focus on building a good physique, and because I believe becoming a fit, strong, and muscled man is definitely an important thing on your to-do list as a male. But yeah, it gets to a point where there are diminishing returns. Obviously, there are people with all kinds of dysmorphias in this sphere, and some people may tell me I'm small, and whatever. And then others will go ahead and tell me that I'm far too big to the point that it's uncanny and no woman would ever be attracted to me as a result. So, you know, you get a plethora. But in real life, it's quite clear that my physique is very standout. And really, that's all I need. As I said, being an all-rounder is what I think is ideal. And I think it's much better to be 90th percentile in every category than it is to be 99.99 in one or two. Unless, of course, there's sort of a paradox, because if you were an outlier in one specific field, you might be able to build a following and, as a result, status and money from it. But it's a paradox, because then you wouldn't only be top tier in one or two fields. So I digress. But yeah, I think the point here is, yes, being natural is not ideal if you want to optimize everything. And on top of that, you do not want to be a one-trick pony. You want to be well-rounded, and you don't want to lose sight of the whole picture, which I think is very easy to do when you get into these spheres. I think a lot of people in the looks maxing sphere will hyper-focus specifically on their face, and they will not even address the other parts of appearance, like physique and whatnot, and that is extremely short-sighted. But even for the people into looks who do focus on, I suppose, the physique, height, face aspect of it, more holistic in nature, they still ignore other parts of life. And they never really get over their obsession with looks. And that's also a bit of an illogical route to take, I would say. Now, don't get me wrong, looks are very important. But the question is, once you attain looks to the extent where attaining a higher level will basically have you at severe diminishing returns, what do you do then? So that's just where I'm at in life personally. But I'm still here teaching others how they can, obviously complete the first step, which is improve their looks. And then, the other stuff is down the line. But anyway, what I have planned upcoming on the channel is I'm going to do long form content, obviously, and I'm going to delve much deeper into topics that I've touched on already and some new ones. And I can also talk a lot more about my own personal protocols, as TikTok has become very strict with really talking about anything. I got 3 strikes overnight on Reddit True Tide videos. Yeah, so I'll be talking about protocols and a lot of things like that. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, stay tuned.